You're good.
Alexa, stop.
And we don't want no copyright strikes here.
Right.
You know what's going on, internet. Welcome to the first live stream show of Fanalysis 101. I'm your host, the one and only RockinMrMagic, Magic for short, Matt for if you know me in the streets. On my left is the enigmatic former Laker fan, my man GB Greg Burnham. G, what it do?
Man, it do something. I don't know exactly, but it's doing something.
It's doing something. Well, we gonna get cracking right here, hot in a hurry. We're just gonna make a quick share on the interwebs. Make sure everybody that can see, and we're gonna get right into topics pertaining to starting heretofore with the Los Angeles Lakers because they are, if not anything, an interesting topic. I'm gonna share this here right quick, and we're gonna get it on and popping. Let's see who we're gonna send this to. We're gonna send this to here. It's not there. Share that. It's gonna make me share. You know what? I hate the fact that on mobile I can do more than I can on the web browser. That be getting annoying. Let's do. Okay. Don't want to echo myself. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Tag. And okay, go in there.
I need a light. Oh, I got a lighter right here. Put one up for all the people, all the Lakers fans that actually know basketball and are in mourning today. There's a whole bunch of people I'm learning they don't really watch basketball. They just be talking.
They just be talking. They just be talking about it.
They be thinking stuff is 2K. I'm telling you.
You ain't wrong.
It works in 2K, so it'll work in. No, these are humans, personalities and temperaments, and some of them like to dominate the ball and have the green light to do whatever they want on the court. When they don't have the ball, they just kind of stand around and pout and don't play defense.
Oh, you mean like the two guys are now playing together?
Yeah.
like those two?
Right.
Because those are two peas in a pod right now.
Except for one of them can go like Super Saiyan Hulk, and it can kind of wipe away some of the the deficiencies. The other one, when the going gets tough in the finals, and everybody's running pick and roll to be able to get them on them so they can get easy layups, he just cries and whines to the referees.
That's true.
But
I'm not going to dispute that. So, if you are a basketball fan, by now, you've heard the news that broke last night. You know what? Here, before we get into the details, what this means basketball wise, I'm going to have a little fun here with this. So here's what I think. I think the NBA saw Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble and shock everybody because nobody had Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble on their prediction card, and said, you know what we've got to do? We've got to one up the WWE. We can't let them have the biggest shock of of January of 2025. So
think about it. It's the off week between the Super Bowl, so it's like it's a good way to steal the headlines for the week.
And there's not that many games leading up to the All-Star game break. Things is quiet. You know, Jey Uso, like, yo, I'm in there. I'm watching. Jey Uso wins. I jump out of my chair. Twitter's exploding. Instagram, TikTok, Jey Uso, yeet. And me was like, hold my beer. Yeah, Luka to Lakers now. Got it. And then all of a sudden, that's the biggest news.
Then I'm up to like 4 a.m. Texting you even.
Yes. At 2 o'clock in the morning, we're going back and forth because this is wild. This is like, what is happening? It's not good for Dallas right now.
I think it is.
No. I'm saying for right this moment because you know AD and he hasn't played a game as a Maverick yet.
Okay.
But these past 2 games, they just lost to Detroit, and today just lost by like 40-something to Cleveland. So Cade Cunningham dropped 40 on these cats.
That's my dog.
And I think that's probably what did it. They're like, you know what? We ain't playing well. This dude ain't doing it. He's apparently Kevin on stage way. He out there 270. And we're gonna have to make this move. Because Cade just dropped 40 on us. And if this dude was playing, he's not even just going by Luka. He's like circling Luka and then going by him again. Just for the fun of it.
Letting them catch up.
And then like
here it is. No,
it is. No, that was not. Yep. I like that fisherman dude in that one car insurance commercial with the dollar on the fishing pole. Oh, almost got it. Oh, so close. No.
So Luka's been out. So you telling me Maxi Kleber is the reason? Oh, Kyrie didn't play.
Kyrie ain't playing either. I'm saying they looked at what Cade Cunningham was doing and they said, if Luka comes back, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah.
We can't.
Oh yeah, they didn't. No, like PJ didn't play.
Yeah.
Neither of the bigs played. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, Cleveland dropped 90 in the first half. Like it wasn't even a basketball game, man. It was like these cats didn't come to play. They're on a road trip. Their biggest star got traded blindsidingly, according to everybody. Everyone's claiming they didn't know.
Yeah.
J Kidd didn't know. LeBron says he didn't know, which I don't believe this at all.
I don't think he knew this one, man. And I saw Nick Wrong. You know, he's part of the camp. He reached like just the way he said it because I don't trust him.
Yeah.
But the way he said it, he's like, He said as much as I can guarantee you that LeBron, Rich Paul did not know, and AD didn't have a no trade clause.
That's true. That's true. AD does not have a no trade clause. So, man.
Wait till you hear my theory, though, because I don't think the world is finished being shook up.
Are you thinking they're going to move Bron?
Man, I tell you, I'm not a Lakers fan anymore. So whatever happens there happens. I'm thinking more. So I'm fielding my new teams, right? I've already come down, got my list down. I got the Spurs, the Rockets, the Mavs, all the Texas teams, Detroit, and then who was my other team? And then the Celtics. And that's just because Jaylen Brown played at the park I used to coach at. And so I always cheer for Jaylen no matter what.
Yeah.
But it goes against everything in me to be a Celtics fan.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah. But, that's what
you know what? I say that and I found myself, well, see, it was always weird because every time the Celtics and Lakers played, as a Piston fan, it's kind of like, when as a Michigan fan, when Notre Dame and Ohio State played for the national championship, it's like I hate them both.
I just want everybody to lose.
So yeah, I just wanted to end in a stalemate,
right?
And nobody gets it.
Yeah. I've been there, but I always rock with Jaylen. I remember him when he was 6, 7 years old out there playing football, like all that. So, but I don't know. I don't think I could go full, let's go Celtics. It
You
feels
can't.
weird.
You can't go location. You can't go geographic. You can't roll with the Hawks. Like,
absolutely not.
Ice Train ain't doing it for you.
I like Ice Train. I used to be up in there all the time, like before the pandemic. I just never got I guess because they suck. But I haven't had the reason to go back. But when Joe Johnson, when Joe was here, I was here. I love ISO Joe.
I love ISO Joe.
When Jimmy Jackson was here for a quick minute, I was going. Jimmy's that was one of my favorite players.
Jimmy was everywhere for a quick minute.
Well, yeah, he did play at 47 teams. Yep. But yeah. So, I mean, I don't hate the Hawks, but I have this thing with Atlanta. The only Atlanta team that I can kind of cheer for is the Braves.
Okay.
Because their fans are the most sane.
Well.
No offense to any Atlanta people that might hear this.
Okay. So let's talk Lakers here. Everybody's got, and we talk, and for those listening, this not only is our first live, but this is our first full week of doing this show, Fanalysis 101. The recorded podcast is on Apple, Spotify, Google, Good Pods. Check it out. We talked about our favorite teams, the Lakers and the Pistons. Well, Greg's former favorite team. Let me correct that. Last week, it was still his favorite team.
Last night, bro,
last night it was still his favorite team.
They was the Madison Garden was screaming for Bronny to get in, and when he got in, they cheered. It was a beautiful thing. Max Christie had an amazing game. He locked Brunson up, he literally locked Brunson up.
This is true.
And I told you what the text I sent to my boy. It's real is everything. I was like, I feel so good about this, but I feel bad because I feel like they're getting ready to trade this boy. And then get home, take a shower. My phone's going nuts.
You were 100% right. 100% right. Hey, Tammy, thank you for watching. Thanks for the comment. What a difference, a few days makes. I mean, 24, not even 24 hours. It was literally we were hitting each other up. Unique DNA in the chat. What up? We need to get Unique DNA's life schedule right so he can return to the OG show, to the original G podcast that he and I started this passion. The reason why we have 3 shows on this G Nation podcast network. My brother, Jersey, stand up. We got to get him back. I don't, it's crazy so everyone has their own basketball philosophies. And we talked about that a lot in our inaugural episode when we talked about our Pistons and Lakers. So some people may have some basketball philosophies that will maybe lend some basketball credence to making this deal. I don't know what they would be because I can't see LeBron and Luka coexisting and making that work. I've never seen either one of them. Well, I'll stop there. I have another point, but I just don't see it working. Basketball wise, G, do you see any philosophy, strategy, game plan that would allow LeBron James and Luka Doncic to not only coexist, but to function effectively and efficiently on the court together?
I mean, if you just spread out the court and maybe go my turn, your turn. The funny thing is we have a common denominator, which is Kyrie. Yes. Kyrie played very well with both of these guys. But Kyrie also was the one that conceded and became the number 2 guy.
Right.
So a guy like Kyrie can play with either one of them, but I just don't know. Like I've never seen LeBron like pull back and like give the reins to somebody else. I've seen him give Kyrie, the rock sometimes, go ahead, whatever. I've seen him kind of give Rondo a little bit of leeway, but for the most part, and I mean, it's the curse. I always say it's just like when you play 2K with Jordan or with LeBron, you ain't passing the ball. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like when you got that, you're that gifted, I know I can make the right decision with the ball.
Yes, but here's the thing. And Kobe was very adamant about when he was talking about his level of effort. And he's like, I'm not passing this guy the ball. I see what he's like in the gym. I see what he's like at practice. I'm not giving this guy the ball. And I don't mind that mindset, because when you've worked so hard to get to a certain level, and your ultimate goal is to win and to succeed. I understand not being as willing of a passer to particular teammates as you would for others. However, Mike, Kobe, I can't think, Magic, Cap, Bird. I can't think of a true all-time great that did not play within the system. And that is, and if you don't have a system, and not just not having the system, if you have players who will not conform to play within the system to maximize their abilities, you're not going to have success. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I believe LeBron missed his chance to be the GOAT because he refused to play within a system.
Within any system. He's always been the system.
He's always been the system. I believe if he had played within a system, I think he would still have less rings than Mike, but I think he would have won 4 straight in Miami and had a claim that no other player post-merger could claim, and that would be winning 4 straight. And that would have really given him a cementable thing. Like, you can't take that from me. No one has 4-peated, since 1960, whatever, with the Celtics, and there are 8 teams in the league. You've got the best talent in the world. There's no race segregation. There's Europeans, and there's no Russian stars that can't come over because of the Cold War. Everybody that can come play can come play. I won 4 straight. Mike didn't do that. Magic didn't do that. Zeke didn't do that. Kareem didn't do that. You can go down the entire list. That would have, and I think if you would have submitted to playing within the system that
he may have gotten more than Mike. Because think about,
possibly. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't think he was at the maturity level until he got to Miami to conform at all. But once he got there, I think if he would have really stuck with it, and let Wade do his thing, and let Wade be the, because he was focused on being the villain and all this stuff. Like, no, man, just be you. Let Wade be the villain. Wade don't care what people say. You're worried about being a nice guy. Let Flash be the villain. Let him be the bad guy. You do your job. Let him get his. Let Bosh get his. And you beat Dallas in 2011. You beat Washington. Because they should have beat them in 5. I mean, let's be real. They should have beat them in 5.
Yeah.
Then you beat OKC. You beat the Spurs the first time, and the second time it would have been tougher. But I think with the talent you added Birdman for length, you added Ray for shooting. I still think if they would have been still too much, even with Wade's knees starting to feel it. I still think there was a better team.
I think just because the part of the reason we wanted to do this is to do that more in depth, like analysis, right? So when you're in a system, it kind of gives everybody their marching orders, right? I know this is like, you can say whatever you want about Kobe, but he's shooting that mug. Yes. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get, these are his spots. So you already know I ain't gonna really be asked to do a whole lot offensively. So I can focus if I'm a defender or rebounder, whatever. But it's like when you play with, and I throw James Harden in, because I really feel like the system that was kind of created by LeBron, James Harden took it, and then Luka took it, but they just went OD with it, like shooting step back threes. Like I always think LeBron played a more cerebral and a better team game than them.
Yes.
But at the same time, if I'm a shooter, one game I might get 8 shots, the next game I might get 12, the next game I might get 3, because everything's always at his discretion.
Right.
Like, when am I going to pass the ball, right? And so I don't know what to expect on a nightly basis. And then, like, I could only have 3 shots, but you might throw it to me in the corner with 2 seconds left to win the game, and then I miss it, and it's all my fault. And, like, people that have played or coached or really studied the game, you understand, no, it's not all my fault, you know? Like, a good leader, like, I know if you can shoot, then I'm going to make sure that I keep a steady diet coming to you so you can be in rhythm. Yep. If you're a post player, dude, my post players used to get so mad at me because I would call clear outs and have just dump the ball down to the block. And they'd be like, come on, man, pass the ball to other people. No, eat. They can't stop you. Eat until they, have to double or something. Damn well, But it's like, I think people get so enamored with the stats. So you look at the clock, the box score, and it's like, oh, this dude had another triple double, but he has the ball in his hands all the time.
Right.
And then he's passing you the ball in positions where you can't do nothing but shoot. So you're gonna get assists. It's like, but you're not balancing the game. And so I don't know. That's why, like, I've been arguing with people all day, because I think people just look at box scores. They look at the stats. I'm like, did y'all watch the finals last year?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. People are not accustomed to doing much more than looking at the box score. Mm-hmm. And that's because when we were kids, you watched your local team. And every once in a while, you got to see a nationally televised game. The internet's made it easier. NBA League Pass has made it easier to watch more. But generally, to know what was going on with your team, especially for someone like me, who moved away from his home state, I couldn't catch the Pistons on TV, post 90. So and living in the Pittsburgh area, I ain't got no local team. There's nobody, no NBA franchise wants to be in Pittsburgh. So, like, I ain't got no local team. So it's even harder for me to catch up. So what I had to do was, I had to check the box scores. I had to look in the newspaper and see who was performing, and glean what I could from that. If there was an AP article that was 2 paragraphs tell me about the game, I could look at the box score, look at that 2 paragraph, and say, okay,
get a feel for
and try to get as much a feel as I could from that bit of information. Even though the medium has changed, it's not a big newspaper anymore. It's a phone. Yeah. It's still how people are getting a lot of their information. People have to, look, these games be late. And, if tip-off's at 9 o'clock and I got to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning,
That's why you got to have no job like me. Like,
we all can't be creators who make money creating. That would be so nice. And if y'all want to make that happen for us, feel free. But, I mean, so when you can't watch everything. Like most of the time, if I can catch a game, I'm catching the first quarter of a game. I'm catching the beginning, maybe the first half if I'm lucky, and then I have to exercise some self-discipline and go to bed because I got to be at work, so I don't get the full aspect in the full context of the game as I would like to, because I don't have access to it. So then I have to look up my phone, look and see the alerts, and I see, okay, Pistons, like last night, editing, I'm watching the Rumble, I'm doing stuff, I get the alert, Pistons destroy Mavericks. Cade drops 40. Dope. It wasn't on ESPN Plus for me to watch. It wasn't on TNT. It wasn't anywhere, and I would have had to dig to find a you know a a Johnny Depp Buccaneer type place to watch it. You know, and I ain't trying to I ain't trying to get caught up doing all that. So unfortunately, how they so the only additional so that's the same. That's been that way for a long time. Now the added difference is now we have talking heads like the Nick Wrongs, like you know the Chris Broussards, the Stephen A. Smiths. We've got some people good, some people not so good. The Rob Parkers out there. We've got a lot of people out there who are analyzing and talking, mostly journalists, and now we have their added influence into what people perceive as how this works, how that works, how this should be played, how this shouldn't be played, and that's how people are drawing their conclusions and coming up with their own philosophies.
And I get that, but some of these people, like when you hear, like some of these people, they go off of the hype, and they're not like I said. If you watched the finals last year, that was like the worst superstar meltdown to me since his new teammate, in Miami with Dallas. Like like you couldn't guard anybody on the court. You weren't even trying.
No, it's not that he couldn't guard. It was the second part. He wasn't even trying.
Not even trying.
Shout out to Select Screen out there in the chat. Select Screen says, Greg, hey, former fan, come to the Nuggets.
The Nuggets, yeah.
These out in Colorado.
They got Russell Westbrook, and Russ is one of them people that I'm hoping might be able to slip and get a ring. So what I'm doing is, my plan is to kind of just see how this season, falls out, and then, be able to come back. I got this really good idea.
Okay, let's hear.
That I think Dallas is going to do, right? So check this out.
Okay.
They have a couple of attractive looking contracts because you saw that AD waived his trade kicker.
Yes.
So that can open up and help them make some more moves.
Yes.
So I was thinking about it. There's a guy, really, really good player that's trying to get out of his situation right now. And there's, rumors that he wants to go back to his, home state of Texas. And I started to think, the Mavs just got rid of a point guard. Then maybe they could be looking to bring one in. So you got your PJ Washington. I think he's making around $17 million. Gafford has already said he wants out. I think he's making around $4 million. So you might be able to put some money together and pull in De'Aaron Fox. And they got a bunch of, they're saying that Sacramento's probably looking to blow it up and rebuild.
Yes.
So you got, what do they got? 3 draft picks that they can move after the one they got from the Lakers. So I was like, that. Then you got Kentucky connection with AD. Like, there's things there.
There's things there. Before we keep going,
it said come to the Knicks. I don't know about that, though.
Yeah, it said come to the Knicks. We don't know about that. But shout out to the homie Ish in the chat. Shout out to Josh Partridge, watching all the way from the UK.
What's up?
Appreciate it, Josh. That's true. Select Screen, we appreciate the love. And then, of course, shout out to Liz, who will be back soon. I haven't posted yet, but we will be doing a review of Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh yeah,
on February 23rd, live here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So Liz, former Lakers fan, is sending her, Greg. She's very amused by the former Lakers fan moniker.
I do what I can.
That D Fox is an interesting.
You heard it here first, people.
Well, what? Sacramento told me they were blowing it up when they fired Mike Brown. They told me that they were really giving up on this season. So,
yeah. And I don't think they like DeMar either. Like,
no,
I don't think the organization. I think the players might be cool with him, but I don't think they think
the players should be cool with him. DeMar's fantastic, but
yeah.
DeMar does not fit what they are trying to do. I just didn't think when they signed him that he is going to fit what they do offensively. I think DeMar at this stage should be coming off the bench and getting 15 a game.
Right.
You know,
come and eat.
Just come and eat and just come in, do his ISO mid range pull up. He still can't stop him from scoring, but I don't think he should be as much of an integral part as they were trying to make him. And he wasn't. Look, as much as I love DeMar, he wasn't going to give them over the hump to winning a championship.
I never thought that was a good fit. Like, just because of the player that he is, he's a guy that can get you over the hump, I think. But if you need him to be like your main guy or your number two guy, I just never thought, because of the style that he plays.
Oh, but we saw it in Toronto. Like him and Kyle couldn't get it done as a better backcourt compared to pretty much everybody they played.
Right.
Like, it'd have been nice if they had a little more help, but
yeah, but
get it done.
I just I look at some people. It's like you're a jump shooter. You don't really put a lot of pressure on the defense, and then defensively, I'm not saying he's a cone like Luka, but he's never been like a standout defender or anything.
Well, I think DeMar's average on defense. No one looks at him as a stopper.
Yeah,
but he's an average defensive player.
But if you shoot a bunch of mid-range twos and get 28, and then you averagely defend me and I get 15, then it's like you're not really killing nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I like him. I like his game. It's stuff that you need to study. Like, if you're trying to be a hooper, like footwork, how to get to spots. So I like him. It's just throughout history, there's been players that were like that to me, where it's like, you're going to get stats. It's going to look pretty. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really impact winning,
Yeah. Well, I think right now DeMar is a player out of time. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, his game was better suited for late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they play now, it's just you can't be as effective as you want to be with him because the philosophy is so different.
Layups and threes.
Yeah. So I mean, unless you're gonna surround DeMar with 4 shooters outside the 3-point line, and you work an offense where he gets the ball, top of the key or at the free throw line, and he just has space to work. I don't know what you do with the player like that. I mean, you can't. You can only load 4 on one side and let him get that ball on the left mid hash like he likes, and work only so many times.
Right. And people know it's coming. Like,
yeah, you know what's coming. You know what he's going to do. You know he's going to back down. You know he's going to take that, turn that right shoulder fade away. Like, it's coming. Good shout, Unique. Thank you so much for jumping on. Have a great night. Get them kids in bed. Appreciate the love. With Dallas, so let's say with the way Dallas is currently constructed, we've got Anthony Davis paired with Kyrie Irving, Jason Kidd coaching this team. Jason Kidd, who coached AD as assistant coach in the Lakers bubble championship win.
2020.
He coached obviously Kyrie last year into the finals. We know J Kidd can make a lot happen with not a ton of talent. As a player and as a coach, if you forget what he did as a coach with Milwaukee before Giannis's, coming out party and explosion, like he made that team instantly better. And we know how smart he is. One thing that was really interesting is the Dallas GM, I forget his name, but he was in the press conference with a kid next to him, and he said, J Kidd didn't know about this, but we talk so much, we have a communication to the fact that I know what types of player he likes. I know the types of players he likes. I know what types of players he can work with. So that says to me, reading between the lines, I don't think Luka was that type of player that kid likes
No, no,
to
no,
use.
no, no.
And I think that I think J Kid is very intrigued with the option of having a big that's as versatile as Anthony Davis and being able to put him in his natural power forward position,
Yeah,
which will make AD a happier player and likely a better, more effective player than constantly playing on a position at center in LA.
right. And you can still go small. You
Yes,
and use them so it doesn't kill you there. But now, like if you have, because they got Lively and Gafford for now, so you have people that can be like that little bit of protection. And both of those guys, they play hard, they're athletic, they block shots, and they don't demand a lot. They don't demand the ball. They're okay
correct.
with rim running, playing in the dunker spot. So I think that's a good thing. So I've been super high on Max Christie, and he proved me right.
Yeah, you
Because
just talked about him. And if you
yeah,
don't believe Greg, listen to the first episode. He said the players get like Max Christie go play well, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna trade him.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
when I start to like him, we're gonna trade him.
yeah.
And
He showed, like, I don't know if anybody saw the game last night. No offense to any Knick fans out here, but he kind of put the clamps on Jalen Brunson last night.
yeah,
And I saw him a little while ago. Like I saw Ja couldn't beat him off the dribble.
hmm
He's very like textbook defender. He's long, and with defenses, part of it is just being willing to take the challenge,
yep,
and he's okay with that. But I'm a little nervous now because they got like 730 wings at in Dallas. You
got
got
more wings than Wingstop.
yeah, you got Grimes, of course. Clay is there. Dinwiddie's there.
Yep.
Hardy, like they got a lot of guys. And then if they stay with where they are, what do you put PJ Washington at the three?
Mm,
Like that, you know what I'm saying? There's a
yeah,
lot. So I'm like, Max might end up, having to go back to the bench and then kicking and scratching and. So I'm hoping they figure out a way because he's the kind of guy you want next to a guy like Kyrie.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And
um,
being J Kid, I can't see a way where he wouldn't find a way to make that work. Um, he's been an excellent coach at utilizing all of his assets.
yeah, he does. He plays a good amount of people. I just want. Like, I'm not delusional. I don't think he's a superstar, but he's a kind of player that I really like because he can shoot it. He's team. He's got IQ. You just breed confidence into him, and like you saw what happened. The Lakers went. I can't remember. We was like 20. I mean, they were something like 20 something. And then, they put him in the starting lineup, and we had creeped into the teens as far as defense goes.
Yeah,
So he's that kind of guy, man, that the kind of guys that you need. He was starting to knock down his shot more. We talked about that the other day.
yep,
His shot was falling. He hit like 3 big threes last night, like hooping, and clinking, locking up Brunson. So I like he was one of the people that they interviewed courtside after the game. That's how well he played last night. And this is what LeBron doing, having a 30-point triple double, and Lemon Daddy having a 27 points. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't.
oh my,
Once the nicknames come, so you know about Lemon Daddy, right?
oh my
I
God,
got that from Gilbert Arenas because one day
yes,
they was calling him Lemon Daddy. So apparently there's a company, Lemon Daddy, and they was using him as the spokesman. And so yeah, I just been calling him that ever since.
oh
But
Lord.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. So
Ish in the chat says Luca calls the Harden dilemma because he needs the ball in his hands.
he's exactly this is what I've been saying all day. He's James Harden at the Rockets. He's got the ultimate green light. He gets to do whatever he wants, pass when he feels like,
Mhm.
shoot. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't take accountability.
Nope.
It's always somebody else's fault. And then he always falls apart late in the postseason. Like, so last year, I can't remember what the injury was supposed to be. To me, it looked like sorryitis. Like, I just ain't gonna play no defense. But
Wasn't it supposed to be like? Wasn't it an oblique?
it was something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even remember because I don't care. You're in the finals now, dog. It never. It's like it's the same thing with LeBron. It's like people are like, when it comes to him not playing defense, they're like, he's 40, but he got all the energy in the world on
On
to
offense.
go get them buckets, go
Yep.
get them assists and all that stuff. Like you can see him sometimes. He'll be loafing, and then he'll be like, "Ooh, if I run real hard right now, I could probably get a dunk." And then
Yep.
he take off.
And look, and just so people don't think we're beating up on LeBron,
No,
everybody loafs. Anybody that's played competitive basketball, high school, college, professional, overseas, NBA, everybody loafs.
right.
No
Especially
one
when
is able to give 100% consistently, no matter how much a coach yells at you to give 110. The max output is probably, I read in a book somewhere they said like the max output is like 87%.
Mhm.
If you get 87% out of a player, people loaf on offense because
Yeah.
sometimes they don't feel like setting a proper screen, so they don't, and they use that time to try to rest a little bit. Players are notorious for resting on defense,
Yeah.
and LeBron is a major culprit of it.
It just seemed like, back in our day, I love saying that. Like we were like our coaches told us like if you gotta rest, you rest on offense.
Right.
And it's like now the NBA is flipped. They rest on defense so they can give more. And I mean, so it's like it's not coming down, it's just calling it what it is.
Yeah.
I recognize that dude, like how great he is, phenomenal basketball player, like longevity is ridiculous.
Insane.
But yeah, but he don't be playing on defense.
No.
Now Luka ain't gonna be playing on defense. Lemon Daddy can't play defense. Lemon Daddy tries.
True.
And they be abusing him. Like they hunt him, And so it's like now our entire perimeter as currently constituted is just like a bunch of turnstiles.
Yeah.
And then
because the arm is extended to turnstiles.
And then we don't even have like AD anymore, who used to clean up for a lot of the mistakes.
So what you had was you had a bunch of turnstiles, and then you traded you traded your one hanging clothes tree.
You trade two, both of your.
Oh, that's right, both.
Your best defensive player.
Both of your long your long poles with extended arms. You traded those for a stanchion.
And another one, because Max Cleaver ain't guarding nobody.
Yes,
he tries though.
He tries. So you traded for a stanchion and another turnstile. Because Luka you can't even give him turnstile. He's a stanchion. He's standing still.
And you know what I haven't talked about, and I just want to mention this real quick. I haven't thought about what's going through JJ Redick's head right now. JJ,
it should be, why did I take this job?
Right.
Why?
JJ played with Luka for a year, and they had a pretty cool relationship.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I could tell that when Luka came on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Not the one where him and LeBron created
the other one.
So they could talk about how they wanted to get rid of Darvin Ham. But the
old man and the three or whatever show. Yeah.
So I'm sure if Luka's gonna I'm sure JJ will be able to have like some kind of rapport, but it's like that until that ball goes up. And now you can't they was yelling at D-Lo, they was mad at him because he wasn't playing no defense. Now who are you gonna yell at?
Well, he was yelling at Connect the other game because Connect misran the play that was set for him. Mm-hmm. Did you see that?
Yeah. And
look. I've messed up a lot on the basketball court, but one thing I ain't never messed up was me running a play that's for me. Like that, if I'm ever uber focused, I'm uber focused on that play where it's set up for me. You're running a play through me for me. Yeah, I'm not messing that play up. So it tells me either your players aren't trusting what you're doing, or you're not communicating very effectively when your player doesn't know the play that's designed for him. Like,
but there's also so meritocracy is big. Like when I coach, it's big, right? I can't reward bad behavior and then yell at somebody else for doing the same thing, right? So I don't understand. Like that kid had a 30-point game. He came out the gate hooping, and then he just got benched.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. And then it's like now you're playing with, no offense, but you're playing with Bronny. Like, you know, and so it's like sometimes you'll get to come in and play more meaningful minutes. So like the mind games with that dude, he was looking like he might be a better option than Austin Reeves.
Right.
Because he's more athletic, he's longer, he's explosive. That jumper is nasty. And then it's like you just, you shelf him. So now he's in and out.
And why? And why? Because he's a rookie? Like
I think he's missed some defensive assignments too. But
again, we're talking about a whole team of turnstiles. So
right. That's my thing. If your best player is not playing defense, and then your second best perimeter player is not playing defense, then why are you gonna be mad at me when I don't play defense?
And it's not like it's not like you're one of those teams where you have defensive issues, so you funnel the opposing team towards your rim protecting big. It's not like that's your strategy, because it's not. You're not funneling people to get their shot altered or blocked by AD. So
because he was all you had, and if he gets in foul trouble,
it's a wrap. You've got zero rim protection, and he's having to come off weak side help most of the time anyway to try to protect the rim. So you're not funneling people towards him like Alonzo's like the Hornets used to do with Zoe, and the Heat did it in the early Zoe years. The Zoe and Tim Hardaway years.
What did Joe Dumars tell Reggie Miller? He's like, "Hey man, like you can get by me,
but
if you do, you can."
But Rick and Bill are back there, so
right.
Do you really want to do that?
Yeah. So
take the jump shot.
Yeah. It's a mess, man. I just like I said, if y'all have any team ideas, like teams.
We've already got a Knicks suggestion. We already got a Nuggets suggestion.
Yeah, the Knicks.
Put the Spurs out there. You mentioned my Pistons. We're honored. We'll take it. We'll take anybody, but I would say be prepared to have your heart broken. But we're not going to break your heart this way, like the way the Lakers did. We're not going to do that. We're not going to. Now, actually, no, I can't say that because Joe. No, I can't because Joe broke my heart that way when he traded for Iverson. So.
That was weird.
And the problem is he had this. I don't know what it was. Now I'm going to go a little off script, but I don't understand the fascination that Joe Dumars had with Allen Iverson because they had traded for him in 2001, but that Matt Geiger, who somehow had a no trade clause, which doesn't make any sense. But the Matt Geiger portion makes that trade from happening. I just don't understand why Joe had this fascination of bringing Allen to Detroit. He just never fit.
Was Larry Brown?
No, it was before Larry Brown. That's when I think our coach at the time was still Coach Alvin Gentry, if my memory is correct. I think Alvin was still our coach, or maybe Coach Collins was on his second stint with us. No, because he was in Washington at that point, around that point. So I think it was Alvin Gentry. It was one of those. Yeah, it could have been, or it could have been early Carlisle, but it was one of those three. But either way, it wouldn't have worked in 2001. It didn't work in 2008, 9.
Maybe they were just trying to sell tickets.
Well, I mean, I think 2009 it was maybe selling tickets. I don't.
I feel like that was a favorite.
No, we were the fans were still filling the Palace. Even though because we were coming off.
We're losing in the Eastern Conference.
But we were coming off a 6th straight conference appearance. Like we weren't losing, we weren't bad. Like I just didn't understand why. I thought with questionable enough bringing in C. Webb with no legs. But then you bring it out. I just
that was a tough period for many of us.
Yes, but but Allen wasn't the stanchion that Luka is. But
and he still was hooping, man. They just
he was coming off a great numerical scoring season in Denver, and he wasn't completely washed yet. But he was
it was
on
just
that
terrible. But like you're gonna really sit Rip Hamilton after what I'm saying, after everything he did, because that's what it's gonna boil down to, right? Somebody's got to go to the bench. And I know they traded Chauncey, but you're not sitting Rip. So
that wasn't the move. I didn't like the move. Like, if they're going to make a blockbuster, the only blockbuster deal I wanted to go through that didn't go through, that got nixed by a player who deserved to have a no trade clause, was when Kobe nixed the deal that would have sent Tayshaun and Rip to LA.
I would have definitely been exiting way earlier.
The team still would have been good. And you would have had a lot of pieces to rebuild with, because y'all weren't rebuilding here. This was the smush. Yeah. This was the Smush Parker, and freaking Jordan Farmar. This was a rocky time.
Yeah, it was Kwame Brown. All right, let's talk about something.
I mean, I would have been glad to have Chauncey and Kobe as my backcourt, and then Sheed and Ben in my front court, and I could find I love tape. I could find another small forward.
Yeah.
If that's my starting four, I could find another small forward.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about something else.
All right, let's talk about next week's game, because I'm stupid and I totally thought that we were going to be leading up to the Super Bowl, but I forgot. I didn't realize that. I just can't read, apparently. It is
today is week. Pro Bowl day.
This is Pro Bowl day, which then it's not worth watching. Let's be real. But let's talk about a little history here, because that's one thing that we're going to be talking about here on Fanalysis 101. We've had in the Super Bowl era a grand total of 1, 2, 3. Yes, 3 black quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. Doug Williams for Washington, obviously 2-time defending champion, current Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson, 2-time defending.
Defending, my bad.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, no, I know. 3 total, 2-time defending. 2-time defending, but 3 total. Patty Mahomes, and then Russell Wilson. Right. But this is a second time where we are guaranteed that another black quarterback will win the Super Bowl. But will Jalen Hurts add to the fourth is the big question for now. The question now is for history. Will we continue to see this trend as we look at the Final Four? We only had 3 black quarterbacks quarterbacking the Final Four teams in each conference's respective championship games. How do you feel this trend? How much do you feel this trend is going to continue with Michael Penix in Atlanta and more young black quarterbacks getting a legitimate chance to play the position?
I mean, you got what a lot of people are saying, the top 2 quarterbacks in this year's draft, Cam Ward and Shador. So I think it's gonna keep going, man. That I'm not exactly sure when it happened, but I've been saying this forever. So we grew up, we watched Doug Williams, who was like a prototypical passer. He wasn't really
the pocket guy
around scrambling. Yeah. Warren Moon, who I think for some reason people don't consider him one of the best to ever do it, but one of the prettiest throwers of the ball. He also, even though he was an athlete, he didn't, you know. But anyways,
No, but don't go off that point because I make that point all the time. One, Warren Moon doesn't get talked about when we talk about great quarterbacks because that man could slang that thing all over the field.
Man.
And he lost years of prime having to play in the CFL. They didn't want to give a black man a chance to play quarterback the way he could in the NFL. And two, they wanted him to play wide receiver. People don't realize he had the legs. He could have been a mobile dual threat quarterback at his time, but to be able to play the position, for them to allow him to play the position, he had to remand himself into a pocket passer.
And like, to me, I don't think he gets enough credit for showing, like, breaking that, because before him, it was always, they can't stay in the pocket, they can't read the defense, blah, blah, blah. And then you got this dude who is almost a Marino clone who just sitting back there picking people apart. And so, but I always use him as an example because what happened at a certain point, people were like, okay, Biddy, when you're little, the best athlete gets to play quarterback. Yeah. They started teaching them, the mechanics, because you got to teach this stuff when they're really young, So you start teaching them the mechanics and, they're learning the game and they're able to process, which we've always been able to process. I hate, that was another thing. You can't process. They
can't do it fast enough. They can't process fast enough.
Yeah. But it's just like fundamentals, honestly. So we're seeing all these kids that are getting fundamentally trained. So you look at Jaden Daniels, man, like he wasn't missing throws, like he pinpoint. I mean, everybody misses a throw, don't get me wrong, but like the amount of times he was delivering the ball exactly where it needed to be. And you're going to keep seeing that. Shedeur throws a beautiful ball. Like there's some people now that are coming out trying to say he doesn't have the arm strength. I didn't see that in college. I saw him whipping it, and Cam Ward is he a monster.
He's a stud. Cam Ward's a stud.
Yeah. So I think it's good. And I appreciate all of them. Randall Cunningham, we didn't really know Randall could really just drop back until he went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
He always had shaky offensive lines. He didn't have the best receivers. You give him some receivers, and it's like, oh.
And you only have one big-time receiver for 1 year, the 1 year in Philly that he had Chris Carter. And Chris Carter, messed it up, unfortunately, for himself and for the team. But, that was just one guy. It was 1 year that he had a top receiver.
Yeah, right. He had the tight end. And they, like Barnett, they had some decent, but they didn't have nobody that was just going to win their matchup most of the time,
Unfortunately,
so, but Randall could throw it. So it's really good, man. I'm excited. I'm happy about it. I remember watching Jalen Hurts in Alabama, and they was like trying to use him like a wing T quarterback. And, Tua ended up taking his spot. And then he went to Oklahoma, and he like throwing the ball around. I'm like, hold on a second. And I know he put a lot of work into it, but for whatever reason, just like Lamar Jackson, it don't matter how well he throws the ball. You always gonna have people saying he can't throw.
He can't throw.
Like,
and I blame Saban a lot for that. I don't believe.
Oh, absolutely.
Saban truly didn't believe in him.
Yeah, I think he learned from that too, though. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of forced to, right? Like you bench this kid, and then he come out and throw for 4,000 something yards, a whole bunch of touchdowns, and is in the running for the Heisman. Like that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, maybe I need to open this up, and because they really, even with Tua in the beginning, they weren't really opened up on their offense.
Not at all.
So yeah, but yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for the position, because now you got these guys that are like super athletes. So like Patrick Mahomes is like, he's just like playing, like he's playing a whole different game than everybody else, He
really is.
Needs 6 yards. Darren, man, let me go ahead and run and get these 7 yards real quick. It's like he sees everything coming Let me shut up because I don't need nothing bad to happen next week. But but yeah, he's on top of it. And then like CJ in Houston, I'm like, word? Like he's slinging because Ohio State quarterbacks
they don't be working out, unfortunately.
Nah. And so
unfortunately for them, they don't. The Troy Smiths, the Terrell Pryors, Cardale Jones,
yeah,
their quarterbacks of late, even some of the past ones, like the Kirk Herbstreits and them, be having not exactly worked out come NFL side. So for CJ just needs a little consistency, man.
But
and within the team play, with his own play, and he gonna be all right.
Yeah, because he's another one. He delivers the ball like he's got command. I look for command, like I remember.
Well, and God, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm hoping that Justin Fields really gets a fair shake somewhere because I think he has the talent to do it.
And it's just like it's the situation you're in. Like, do they believe? Like what was that? I can't remember. One of the coaches. I want to say maybe it was Bill Walsh was talking, and he was saying how a high percentage of coaches in the NFL, they don't coach their players up. They coach them down. They coach towards the limitations they think they have.
Right.
And that's why you end up seeing these guys grow stunted, not growing at all. I mean, and this goes for not just black quarterbacks. Remember Vinny Testaverde coming into the league after winning a Heisman, and you like, let's see what he does. And it's just a dud. And then he finally gets to a situation where, he understands and they kind of believe in him. And he turned out, he wasn't the greatest, but
he was fine.
Solid QB.
Yeah, he was good enough for everyone to keep bringing him to retire. Everybody keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
And was like 45 out there playing for the Jets and the Cowboys or whatever. Like,
right. So it's a lot about where you're drafted, but it's also, and I know that as a, I never propose, like act like I'm the greatest coach that ever lived or anything, but coaching is coaching. Like, and when you have those kids and it's like, you just coach them like, oh, this kid can't dribble, so we're just going to stick him in the corner. Right. I could do that, or I could be like, hey, come on, let's get these dribble drills together. And I would give kids assignments, go home,
and work on this and work on your
game. And then
game.
I can tell if you're really working, because if you want to play more, this is what I need you to do. And so you can either coach them up, or you can, like, there's so many coaches that's just worried about their job. Like, that's what I felt like. And I love Mike Tomlin, but I felt like Just was like, he was doing okay. They were winning. And winning
they were 4-1.
Yeah, winning is a big part of it. I already know what Russ can do if Russ is at his absolute best.
Right.
And I also know that it can go left. Whereas we don't really know what this kid can do. So at least give me a reason for me to bench you. I just be like, ooh.
Well, see, you know what? I think Mike made the right call putting Russ in, because they were winning, but they were getting bailed out a couple of games by the defense, and the offense and the offense wasn't moving smoothly. The way that offense moved, especially initially when for a couple of weeks that Russ took over, the ball's getting to deliver the places that it needs to be. These guys are getting hit in stride more. They're going over the top. And the more Russ got comfortable in the offense, the more and more the ball was getting spread around the field. That wasn't happening with Justin, unfortunately.
But I always wonder, because if you look at the plays that Arthur Smith, who I'm not a fan of, if you look at the plays that he's calling for Justin, and we're not in the room, so we know, like, maybe they call these in practice and Justin can't execute these.
Right.
But
that's a strong possibility.
But there's also the thing that maybe I don't think he can execute these, so we just gonna play,
conservative
wing team football. Wing team football. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, those are the things we can never really 100%, know. We can only speculate.
Right.
But I remember when I found out that Dan Marino scored, like a 13 on the Wonderlic or something. It was very
really low score. Yeah.
Very low. And I'm like, he's not a smart man, but his instinct, like when he's in the pocket, he's the smartest thing I ever seen. You know?
Well, I think Dan spent his entire high school career at Pittsburgh Central Catholic, just in the weight room and in the locker room, is reading his playbook. I don't think he went to class.
It makes sense, but I mean,
no, I mean, in the way, trust me, because like I was there for not even a cup of coffee, but for the time I was there, man, they talked about Dan Marino like he was just walking those halls the day before. They said, Dan Marino. I'm like, yes, I get it. Dan went to school here. I get it. Like, be proud. I get it. But like, Lord have mercy. Like, and then, you were at Pittsburgh Central Catholic. You know Dan Marino? No, I don't know no Dan Marino, man.
That's crazy.
That's like And then I was at Allentown Central Catholic. It's like someone's like, well, do you know Newt Rockne? Like, no, man. Like, come on, that was like, come on, man. Like don't ask me goofy stuff like that. Like, I've met Dan Marino because he went to school here. Like, you think Dan, who spent his entire NFL career in Miami, wants to come back to Pittsburgh for fun?
Maybe once or twice.
I mean, you ain't. Come on, man. You ain't think that man moves his whole family out of Pittsburgh? I bet there's not a Marino adjacent person left in Pittsburgh. I bet they all gone.
But yeah, man. So I'm really happy. I think I was, the blackness in me was hoping that we would have had, all four, like the final four would have been just black quarterbacks. But
I have to admit I wasn't rooting for that. As a Lions fan, I needed my team to actually show up.
That makes sense.
My
condolences too, man.
Of course, Jared Goff, put on his Rams jersey. Apparently, I forgot what team he was playing for.
That dude turned into Kirk Cousins. Him and Sam Darnold. I was like,
Sam Darnold put his Jets jersey on and was like, "Oh, wait, what team am I playing for again?"
Put it up there and see what happens.
The fact that we only lost by 7, 8, and we turned the ball over 5 times, like, you can't win playoff games, turn the ball over. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I too am glad though. Like, I am too. I'm very glad. It's something that is good to see. For as kids, we rarely saw a black quarterback. And if we saw one, there was always that stigma of him being a runner and not like the things you mentioned before, not being able to process fast enough, can't throw the ball hard enough, or deep enough. They're just there's more like they're more like running backs. They should just run the ball. They can't lead the way the white ones do.
They get rattled.
Yeah, they get rattled too easily. They can't handle the pressure. Yeah, all this other stuff.
I always tell the whippersnappers because Doug Williams went to Grambling State University.
That's right.
I did too. I got his jersey somewhere in here. But the point is, Doug wasn't a starter. He was the backup.
That's correct.
And what's his name? Schrader got hurt, and so Doug had to come in, and he only threw for like 9 million yards and a bunch of touchdowns in the Super Bowl against John Elway. And
young John Elway too.
Yeah, this is Elway in his prime when he was getting smacked in the Super Bowl year after year. Because people don't like to talk about that either. But yeah, he and it was a disgusting, despicable blowout. I didn't know that Joe Gibbs, from what I heard, so Joe Gibbs was the one that wanted to draft him initially when he was in Tampa.
I did hear that.
Yeah, yes. And so, come full circle, Joe Gibbs is in DC, and he's like, I need a backup. Let's holler at the guy, Yeah. And so I believe that if times would have been different and Joe Gibbs was allowed to do what he wanted to, I believe Doug Williams probably would have been a Hall of Famer, or very close. He would have been a career starter. And how many Super Bowls did they win? They won like 2 or 3, right?
Joe Gibbs won 3 as the Washington coach.
Yes, I think like maybe 2 of those would have been for Doug. But, It's cool. He's a really good man. I got to meet him a few times.
You got to meet Coach Gibbs?
No, Doug.
Oh, Doug. Okay.
You know, so yeah, I think it's beautiful. I was bugging because when Russell won his, which he should have had two, but when he won his, no, people weren't really making a big deal out of it, you know, and like, you know, just on the like the grand, like what they were doing with Doug, and I was like, man, Doug won, that was like 20 something years ago, so you know, 30 something years ago, so you know,
the hate on Russ is so
yeah.
I can't like I can't stand the way, and even the similar the hate on RG3 that like Rob Parker was giving RG3, like you're calling them cornballs and stuff like that, like come on, man, like really, like I don't. Just because you don't want to hang with this brother doesn't mean he's not a brother.
It's the thing that happens that I don't like. It's like if you don't like, you know, this person's personality or how they talk or how they carry themselves, you automatically want to call them corny. Like we should be past that, you know. And it's he does do some you know goofy stuff, and he's fun to make fun of.
He's a goofy, like that's I think that's just him.
Yeah, but like, I'll tell you, man, and this is why I don't like the Shamahans for what they did to him in Washington. Mike Shannon, I call him Shamahans with an M because I think they're shams. He you know, he played that boy. That kid was running around the field with a torn ACL, trying to make something happen, and he didn't. And the thing is, he never wanted him. He wanted Kirk Cousins.
He wanted Kirk Cousins.
So you know, so it's like I feel like that was a little bit of a sabotage, and I feel like they kind of sabotaged Maurice Claret too.
Oh no, they definitely did.
Yeah, because he was still there, you know. So it's certain people. I feel like they're hard R people, and yeah, I don't like the Shamahans.
No, I don't blame you one bit for that. Because you know it's a shame that we didn't get what we could have gotten out of RG3.
Man, because he could throw the ball.
He could,
and, yeah.
There were zero doubts about that.
Yeah,
it's not like some of these other black quarterbacks that came up and they're like, well, he's not the most accurate, or he was a backup that got thrust into a starting role, kind of like a Sean King type of situation, or even like a Jeff Blake type situation. Like he came out the gate, it's like, no, this kid can throw. This kid is nice. This is
pretty ball.
A very pretty ball. I mean, it's like, come on, he put Baylor into the national scene. Like Baylor ain't no football school. Like let's be
return.
Yeah, right. Like now basketball people, we knew Baylor because Baylor would make a splash here and there in the NCAA tournament. Like, football, Baylor, I didn't. Oh, man, I'm gonna be real. I didn't know Baylor had a football program. I did not. I thought they were one of them schools that just had a basketball program. I did not know they had a football program. So it's like, who's like Duke? Like I didn't know Duke had a football. But who's going to watch Duke football? Like who was really watching Baylor football? Like, I know it's Texas, but I'm just saying, like,
so because I lived down that way, I knew about them, but they weren't anything to,
Hey, no one. When you've got Texas A&M, Texas Tech,
back in the day, SMU,
TCU, yeah, like ain't nobody checking for Baylor.
And here he got them, competing.
Right,
that's good stuff.
But it's a disservice because there's so many, like, and I'll think about some guys who who had decent careers, but likely could have had better careers if they were not hampered into having to play like their white counterparts. We mentioned Warren Moon previously, but I think of a Rodney Peete.
Yeah,
in that type of situation, I think of a Charlie Batch. Like
Charlie Batch was nice.
Yeah, but always consistently a backup, and it's like, well, you keep having this guy And when he plays, he does well for you. Like he did, he played well for my Lions. He played well for the Steelers. Like this, you can't tell me this guy is not that good. And then you have, in Pittsburgh, you have the Cordell Stewart situation where you have this guy who can do everything, and then he wants to be the quarterback. Cool, but then you don't have him. You don't utilize his versatility at all.
Right. It's like, okay, we're gonna let you play quarterback, so now you got to go be Dan Marino, like, right? Instead of having the imagination to like. Because
when he was Flash, it was like it's like what you do in the vacant lot with your homies when you're playing 7-on-7. Like you're drawn up a play in the dirt, and Cordell has the athleticism to go make it happen. Whether it's pass, running, receiving, punting, like he did everything. So it's like, why are you not utilizing that? It doesn't. It just blows my mind. And for him. And for Cowher later on to have Whisenhunt and doing all these quote unquote gadget plays, with Roethlisberger, who was nowhere near as mobile for a dude his size, but nowhere near as mobile as Cordell Stewart.
Yeah. And I mean also,
and you do that with them, or you do it with your black quarterbacks converted into receivers in Hines Ward and Antoine Randall.
Right.
But you won't do it with the guy who really could be an NFL level quarterback. You don't do it with him. Like, come on, it doesn't make no sense.
You think about it, like, now with the read option being so prevalent, and like just RPOs in general, it's like you're seeing coaches that are doing a better job at utilizing their athleticism and utilizing that threat. So I think back to, like, I always talk about Michael Vick. When he got here, Dan Reeves was trying to teach him how to play real quarterback.
Yes, he was.
If you look at his numbers that first year that he started for Atlanta, those were the best numbers he had in Atlanta.
Right.
Throwing the ball. And then, Mora comes in and it's like, let's wing T. Let's run the bootleg. Let's run 8-yard curls all day and wonder why our wide receivers aren't getting open. Like, you're hampering this dude that's got this monster arm. Like, he wasn't the most accurate, but he was pretty accurate.
He got better.
Yeah, and you see what happened when you get him to a guy with imagination, Andy Reid.
In Philly, yeah. And by that time, he had made himself a better, more accurate passer. Yeah.
But, I mean, remember, he was coming out of jail. Like, Dan Reeves.
Well, he had unfortunately, he had a lot of time to work on his accuracy while he was locked up, too.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying, like, Dan Reeves was, he was like, no, I'm going to show you how to really play quarterback. And you're still going to be able to take advantage of, utilize your legs and do all that stuff. But he had him, like, dropping back, reading defenses, throwing the ball. And for whatever reason, they got rid of Dan Reeves. And then,
Jim Moore Jr. And you want, in defense of Jim Moore Jr., I had a similar thought process myself, because looking at that backfield of Michael Vick, TJ Duckett, and Ward Dunn, DVD, I said if I was Jim Moore Jr., I'd trade away these wide receivers. I would trade these wide receivers for receiving tight ends.
Well, they had Algie Crumpler. He was
but that's one.
Oh,
I'm saying
more.
I'm talking about my two wideouts are replaced by receiving tight ends, and most of what they're going to do is block downfield. I'm putting I'm putting two blocking tight ends on my line, and we're going to run the ball. And I dare you to stop us, because they couldn't stop them. With those three guys, you could not stop their rush attack, and you didn't know where the ball. You didn't know who the ball was going to.
Right. The problem
I'd have committed fully to ramming the ball down their throats and daring them to stop it. Now, the NFL wouldn't want that because it's not pretty football. It's not ESPN highlight football.
That was still at the time where you were allowed to have your own personality as a team, though.
Yeah, but not to that extreme.
Yeah. But my thing was, I think it really hurt his development. And then also, like, if when you're challenging people to learn, it kind of keeps them engaged to where maybe they're not, you know, setting up international dogfighting rings and stuff. I don't know.
You're not
Interesting. I'm sorry.
wrong there.
Interesting.
You're definitely not wrong there.
It's like, oh, I don't really have to learn anything. I'm just gonna do bootlegs, and you know.
And the thing is, it became so. I mean, look, what's the best football shoe commercial ever?
Oh, yeah.
It's the Michael Vick Experience.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
like,
he was a phenomenon. Like, I almost cared about
the way they were promoting him, they weren't going to make him do anything else because they wanted more of that excitement.
Yeah.
Because every game was a highlight reel of Mike eluding 8 cats, for 40 yards, 60 yards, 50-yard touchdown runs. Like, they didn't want Mike throwing the ball at all.
That's exactly what happened. What got us in this situation is you're a great athlete. Let's just use your athleticism. I remember I saw them, the Ravens. They played the Ravens,
mm-hmm.
And I went to that game, man, and I watched him throw the ball, and I was just like, I like, y'all not taking advantage of this, like I'm sure he could throw the ball 70 yards, like,
oh yeah,
no problem. And his you see some people that releases tight, and it's like, his jump was just like flick.
Yeah.
Flick. I'm like, man, if you had the right coach, I'm glad we got to see him with Andy Reid, so we could see what could have been.
Because those were his best years. He was still dangerous with his legs, but he was out there slanging it, and he finally had someone to catch it.
Yep.
And we saw what he was able to do. I still remember that first play against it was Washington, where they did that play action deep ball to Deshaun Jackson. Touchdown to open the game. And Deshaun, as fast as he is, he barely caught up to that ball.
Yeah.
He had to really extend to get, his legs and, this stride to be able to get there and catch that ball. Like, yeah.
He was on that Randy Moss thing. Like, you can't really outthrow him. And then Mike almost just played. That was a dude that was fun to watch play football too. Deshaun Jackson.
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
He was just electric, man. Good times.
Yes. Oh man. So I'm glad where the evolution is. I'm glad RPOs and philosophy. Again, the philosophy of the NFL, the philosophy of pro football has changed from the traditional pro style, offense to now, this RPO, West Coast offense modified style of offense that makes the quarterback a much bigger threat, and it emphasizes the dual threat of the mobile quarterback. So I like where the future is going. Let's talk predictions here to close this out. Super Bowl, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles rematch from 2 Super Bowls ago. We've got a Philly team that's better than they were 2 years ago.
A little bit.
And just a little. Just Barkley better.
26%.
Barkley better. Barkley better than they were before. And then we've got a Chiefs team that's definitely not better, but they are chasing history. And wounded animals are often the most dangerous animals. It's going to be a game. Who is your winner, and what's your score prediction?
So who I want to win is the Kansas City Chiefs.
We know you're Chiefs. Give me your objective.
I said it the other night, man. I am afraid of Saquon Barkley.
As you should be.
Yeah. So my prediction, because I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. My dad would come down here and whoop me. So I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, but it's gonna be based off the fact that I think the Chiefs are gonna be heavy on the ball control to try to limit, time of possession for Philly. So I think it's gonna. I think it might be a lower scoring game. I'm gonna say 27-23 for
27-23.
Yeah,
for the Chiefs.
Absolutely, because I don't want my dad to come hunt me down.
Oh man, that's not that's not a bad prediction. And you're right. So you want Kansas City needs to control the clock. Both teams are very good at clock management.
Yeah.
Both teams are very good at eating clock. I remember watching one of Kansas City's games, and they took up half of the third quarter with one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there was like 3 drives in the entire third quarter of the game. It's like, yeah, and which honestly, again, the casual doesn't like it. I appreciate it because it's strategic football. Because I love
it's competition, man.
Yeah, it's competition. I honestly think this is going to be a lower scoring affair than that. Initially, when I looked at it, I was thinking it's going to be close. I'm thinking a 3-point margin. But I'm thinking it's going to be 17-14. I am leaning because and not because of my mama's family being from Philly and being Philly adjacent. And not because I remember Say in high school. I am leaning Philly because of Say. He just has such ability to. He had such a bigger dimension to this Philadelphia offense that honestly, Kansas City really is. They're pretty much the same team they were 2 years ago. This Eagles team is not the same.
I think honestly, our defense is not as good as it was 2 years ago.
No, but they're weaker. But it's essentially the same team, but it's not as good as it was. Most of your same players, your impact players, they're all there. They're all still there. It's mostly the same team. Where Philly has a much bigger impact player, a much different and more versatile offense now.
Was AJ there the first year also?
2 years ago? I think so.
Pretty
sure AJ was there.
Yeah,
AJ.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So, and as good as AJ is, I don't think the difference maker is going to be clock management and who's going to make the big plays. I think if Philly can establish a 10-point lead, control the clock, they're not going to keep Patty off the board again. But I think it ends 17-14 because of that. The only caveat is if they're only up by 3 or to tie a game with 2 minutes left and Patty Mahomes has the ball, I mean, the only person I'd be more afraid of with the ball in that time situation is Tom Brady. But Patty can, you can't stop him. This guy is going to drive down the field.
So this is the thing about, because I watch every single game, and I've been watching this for the last 2 years. Whenever they need to score, they score. Almost every single time. So if you my thought process is Saquon's gonna do some freaky stuff, maybe 2 big ones, but I just feel like I've seen it, and this year it's even better than it was last year. Game after game, it's you go up, we go right back down the field and score. It's almost like Andy Reid holds some of his, some of his plays that he knows are gonna work. He doesn't release them until he needs to. So that was my thinking, but I just think, like I said, I think Saquon is gonna do some crazy stuff, and so they're gonna have to score a little bit more. But whatchamacallit, what's his name? Hunter is running the rock. Huh? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It's Hunter?
Yeah, for the Chiefs.
The kicker?
The runner.
Oh, the runner.
Yeah, he's running the rock.
Kareem?
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. I'm sorry.
Okay, you said Hunter, so I'm
I
thinking
did.
like, yeah, okay, yeah, Kareem Hunt. Yes, okay.
It's been a tough day, But yeah, Kareem Hunt.
I'm saying Hunter. I'm like Triple H don't play for the Chiefs. Like, what are you talking about?
he's running the rock really well right now.
Yes, Kareem is. Yeah.
And I think like D Hop is like chilled. I really want one for D Hop because he was an amazing receiver.
He's been languishing all these years in these bad teams.
And so I really would like to see one for him. But he's been kind of laying low. Hollywood came, and he finally got healthy, so they've been going at him a lot. So I think this might be a game where you might see D-Hop like pull out some stuff. But yeah, I'm afraid.
I said that about Chad playing with New England, and that didn't work out.
But he's been balling all year. It's just lately you could see like even Kelsey's not getting as many looks. They're using Juju. And
Kelsey's been having a tough time being healthy.
Yeah, but he'll be
healthy.
Yeah, he'll be here for this one. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think the Chiefs just have like a lot of weapons, and I trust Andy Reid to put them in the right spots, and I trust Pat to like not get rattled and make the plays. It always comes down to, and that's what I was telling my boys, it always comes down to people getting out of character against Patrick Mahomes. Because it's like, I felt bad a little bit for Josh Allen because he played almost perfect football, man. Again. And you go home with the L, So it's like, but you get out of character. They stopped running Cook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, I was like, we got to do something to stop him. And they was like, I got you. We got you. Don't worry. And then they stopped giving him the ball. So it's like people always start doing out of character stuff, and Pat just keeps matriculating down the field. So it's gonna. I'm excited. I want the Chiefs to win. I won't be like, I love Saquon Barkley. He's one of them dudes I was bragging about when he was in college. Like he that next one. So I like to be right. So I'm not tripping. Yeah. I love Jalen Hurts' story. Like,
me too.
Like you almost got buried in the national championship game. Like your career
he was buried. Like they buried.
I'm just saying, but he refused to go under, and he went to Oklahoma, and now he's going to his second. And they still talking. He's another one.
They talk down on his throwing ability and his decision making and stuff like that. Oh yeah.
And I'm like, no, stupid. They're running the ball this year. It's just like Patrick Mahomes. Like he's not playing for stats.
No, like
they're playing ball control, keep the ball out of your hands, matriculate down the field, score when I need to. And people are like he didn't even make the Pro Bowl this year.
And there's no reason for Pat to play with stats because you've got people like Lamar who are slinging and running all over the place. Like those stats aren't going to hold up forever. Like the stat accumulation is not going to last. What's going to last is they can't take them wins from you. They can't take the goals from you.
Right. So and he's already once he got like that second one at such an early age, I just think the mind state is like I'm like most Steph said, your grind and my grind ain't the same. You're trying to get here. I'm trying to get over there. You know what I'm saying?
He's trying. The thing is, he's 3 Super Bowls in, and he's already in the, Brady Montana conversation. Mm-hmm. So like, if he gets his 4th, and he's still not 30 years old,
right?
It's like what do you do with this kid?
And look how you got him. You had the most explosive player in the league. He's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he said you was a problem and he left, and you keep winning.
Yeah. He left, and then you're doing it with possession receivers. Now you got a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but
your running back isn't the star he used to be, and you're still doing it. Your tight end, your receiving tight end is he's severely less than what he used to be. Still dangerous, but he's
number one receiver got injured, ain't played a game this year, you know?
Right.
So it's like, you know, or maybe one game, I don't know. But so it's like, you know, he's been on the fly. Like we was arguing the other night, and there was like, look at his numbers. I'm like, dude, he started the season off, he ain't had no receivers. Like his receivers were like Hollywood was hurt, Rice was hurt. They had to bring in D-Hop, you know, Juju, they had already brought back, but he had to get, you know, in his comfort zone. Kelsey slowing down. It's like he out here, he winning every game with, you know, whoever laces it up.
Yeah, it was like that year where, you know, Brady was throwing to, you know, dudes we had never even heard of.
Little bitty white dudes.
Yeah, you know, freaking you know, yeah, like it's like who do you throw? Chris Hogan? Who's Chris Hogan?
And even before them, the little he had all the little bitty black dudes.
Deion Branch or whatever. Deion Branch, who was nobody before him. Yeah. And you know, no one had heard of Troy Brown, you know, before.
Right.
Unless you were a Patriots fan, you didn't know who Troy Brown was.
Right.
Then they turned him into a household name for a hot minute.
Yeah. So it's the same thing, man. That's that upper echelon. And like I said, I think dude is just out here, like they trying to get as many of these they can, and to, you know, until that's the other part that I love is that Pat took like a nice sizable deal, and it's like, okay, we're not gonna be able to sign all these guys on defense, we're not gonna be able to sign all these superstars on offense, so you got to figure out how to make it work with what you have.
Right.
And he's doing that, and I just like, you have to watch the game. It goes back to always, if you watch the games and you just see, it's not even coincidence. Like I'll tell my brother, I'm like, somebody score, I'm like, yep, watch this, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, like just like that. It's they're playing a whole different level. I'm just afraid of Saquon.
I feel you. So
I might go to New Orleans and some ladies to his pull an LT.
So if the Chiefs win, does Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift and retire promptly after?
Nah, man, he still got something left.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Why would he keep playing? He's been on television now. He's been in a movie. He's a handsome white dude who has the most famous white woman in the world. He's making an insane amount of money off his podcast, and now he's gotten stuff in Hollywood. Why would he keep playing?
For me. Okay. For me, like, I'm not ready for him to go. And we need somebody. I was like, if we could figure out a way to get Brock from the Raiders, then he could go. But until then, we got to keep him.
Hey, you might. I mean, actually, probably not, because while we were talking, Chip Kelly decided to join the Raiders staff, so he will be running that offense.
Chip Kelly.
Left Ohio State and back in the NFL as an O coordinator.
I heard too many stories. Have you ever heard Shady?
I've never heard a good Chip Kelly story. I can tell you that.
Like the stuff I heard Shady and them talking about.
No, I'm not a Chip Kelly fan.
I don't like that. I didn't like him anyway, but
neither did I. But no, yeah, he's returning to the Raiders offensive coordinator. So apparently Pete Carroll, which I don't understand that either, but Pete Carroll is, you know, Raider head coach, Chip Kelly offensive coordinator. Max Crosby, we would love you in Detroit, Max. Just saying.
Pete is like 9,000 years old.
Pete Carroll? Yes. Pete Carroll was old when we were kids. Yes. Or at least he looked old. He might have been like Morgan Freeman and is born old. You know, I don't know. But that's gonna wrap up this inaugural live stream of Fanalysis 101. Thank you, one and all, on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, for joining us. We always had a great time. Shout out to everyone who engaged in the comments, particularly our mutual homie, the one and only Ish Street. That is Not Now podcast. Check him out. We appreciate everyone else who came in and gave the feedback. We always love the love. We're going to do this consistently. So we will be back here right next week. We'll be back same time because the game kicks off at 6:30. So it's 5:30. We're gonna be back on. We're probably Eastern time. We're probably gonna be doing this around 6, as frequently as possible on Sunday nights. Subscribe to the show, Fanalysis 101 podcast. Again, on Apple, Google, Good Pods, all them. So you can get the weekly updates there, the audio of these live streams. So, and you can get these videos on YouTube, and again, replays on Twitch as well. I'm your host, RockinMrMagic. He is Greg Burnham. This is Fanalysis 101. Stay educated, y'all.